All right, welcome in, everyone. I'm Carly Smith, joined by CAA basketball insider John Fanta. John, thanks so much for your time today. How you doing?
Carly, it's great to be with you, and it is outstanding that college basketball is about to be back in our lives. And I think in the CAA, we saw it as things played out last year. A lot of drama. You had Towson, regular season champions, but you had Delaware make the conference tournament run. I think this league has a lot of storylines at the top of it, and there will be a race in the CAA this season. It's going to be fun.
A race, no doubt. And it's really cool because you've gotten to get that inside look at the variety of talent that the CAA possesses. But Towson coming in as the preseason favorite, they obviously return a lot of firepower. But what to you makes them worthy of that number one spot?
Well, four starters back, and then I look at Cam Holden as a 6'5" playmaker, Carly, who makes things happen. You're talking about a guy who can score the basketball. He can distribute it as well with over 3 assists per game last year, and he defends. He really fits Pat Skerry's model of defense and being able to get stops. And I think for Holden, he's a guy who's going to initiate offense for that team, but also score. And then you look at Nick Timberlake, a guy that is a consistent perimeter shooter. They can get him the basketball, and he's going to make things happen. And that's the thing. With Towson, they've got Timberlake, and they've got Jason Gibson to be able to really drive their offense. And Carly, Towson's defense begins and ends with Charles Thompson. 6'7" forward. He's the glue of the team. He might be 6'7", but he plays bigger than that. A real monster. And for him to post nearly 11 points per game, he shot over 66% at the rim last season. So he can finish, and he's got terrific toughness on the glass. One of the better rebounders that you're going to find. And Pat Skerry talks about the fact that Charles Thompson sets the tone of toughness for his Towson team, the way he practices every day. Like, when you have a winning mentality in practice, it translates to the games, and Charles Thompson brings that to Towson every single day. He is the epitome of an everyday guy. The difference with the Tigers last year was offensively, they had options. They had options that were created in their system. They're always going to defend. Towson is always going to be one of the more efficient defensive teams, not just in the CAA, but that you're going to find nationally. On the offensive end of the floor, they were able to lead the league in adjusted offensive efficiency. So for me, when I look at this team to bring back 4 starters, they brought in a couple of additions. When you have experience and when you know who you are going to have a really nice chance to get to the NCAA tournament. And what does this season mean for Towson? It's on the table. That first big dance appearance since 1991 is possible at Towson. And that would be a dream. And this team fits the mold of one that could do it.
Yeah, that Towson branded defense, and then you throw offensive firepower in there. That's really going to be hard to play against. Now, let's look around the league. You've got Charleston, a lot of returners for them. Pat Kelsey in his second year at the helm. So who do you, in addition to the Cougars, expect to challenge Towson this year?
Well, I think that Charleston is a really interesting team.
Mm-hmm.
And you said it on Pat Kelsey. Offensively, they play the game the right way. And I think that this is a Charleston team that has a sophomore class that's ready to take the next step. And when I look at Charleston, I look at a guy by the name of Rain Smith, who really took off as last year went on. I mean, you look at what he did from a shooting perspective, 38% from distance, the ability to not only make perimeter shots, but a 93% free throw shooter as well. So he's a guy who's going to step up for them. And I think just how efficient they can be on the offensive end of the floor. They brought in a Wofford transfer by the name of Ryan Larson. He is a transfer to watch. In our current day and age in the portal, folks, there's guys that move around in the offseason. Well, Pat Kelsey got a good one in the Wofford transfer, Ryan Larson. And there's another guy we'll get to in a little bit when we're talking about some of the new additions to the league. But who are the teams that are going to challenge Towson? Not just Charleston, but hey, you got to look at Hofstra and what they can do. Speedy Claxton plays that way with speed, with guard play, and with different options. And I think when you look at what Hofstra was able to do from a pace perspective last year, they added to that. We'll get to Aaron Estrada, but you think about a transfer in Tyler Thomas from Sacred Heart who fits right in. I look at Darlin Stone Dubar. I think that Hofstra's got the formula to do it. And I think Delaware, Jair Davis came on as last year went along. He's only ready to blossom even more. So for me, Delaware's a team that, Carly, when you win in March, it transitions into the following year more times than it doesn't. When Delaware gets to those crucial situations, Delaware's going to be ready to go. They're not going to be overwhelmed by anything. They grew as last year went on. They have some losses, but I think that Davis is a big-time star.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you mentioned the word efficiency. Hofstra guard Aaron Estrada, CAA preseason player of the year. What separates him from the rest?
Well, first and foremost, I love Aaron Estrada. The explosiveness is what separates him. He could change a game in a flash. And I had the privilege of watching him a couple of times last year, late in the season, doing some Hofstra games. He was a treat. Mm-hmm. And he's a dream for Speedy Claxton. You think about his range. You think about his pace. The guy, Aaron Estrada, was one of only 3 players in the country. Get this. One of 3 players in the country, folks, to average at least 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists last year. That's ridiculous. And he's in the CAA. So he is the preseason player of the year in this league for good reason. And the way that Estrada creates for his teammates too, Carly, he draws so much attention. He's the guy that will be at the top of the scout. It doesn't matter. He's that guy that when he walks in the gym, you just say, he's going to get his tonight. He's going to get his tonight. Aaron Estrada does make the glasses pop off because he is that good offensively. And I am psyched to see what he adds to his arsenal this year. What makes him different is that in the blink of an eye, he could change the game. And that ability is something that not every guard has on a given night. And Aaron Estrada has it.
Yeah, he's a selfless guy too. He sees the court so well. He's not afraid to pass it off, but obviously you want the ball in his hands. Okay, a lot of great guard play all around the league. What other shooters are you really keeping an eye on?
Well, I think that some of the players that we've talked about with a Rain Smith at Charleston, just his efficiency, and I think the way that he teams up with Ryan Larson is going to be interesting. But when I go down the line, I actually look at Stony Brook, Frankie Policelli, the way that he could shoot the basketball for Coach Ford's system is something. I think that Frankie's a guy that they're going to count on to hit perimeter shots, to make things happen. And the way that Stony Brook plays, Carly, is being offensively efficient. They were a team that did not turn the basketball over much last year, incredibly efficient, and they keep that going. So for me, I look at Policelli as a guy. I think that another guy that you want to look at when it comes to different guys that can make things happen, look at Jordan Nesbitt from Hampton. He's a guy that's a little bit different and a guy that transfers in from St. Louis. I think he'll add something to the Pirates this season. And then we have not talked about UNCW. Shaquem Phillips. Shaquem Phillips is long. He makes things happen. He's an all-CAA preseason team selection. Look for Phillips to have a nice year for UNCW, who defends. The key for them is getting things done offensively, and I think Phillips is that guy for UNCW.
Great stuff, John. Okay, expanded conference this year, 13 teams with the addition of Stony Brook, Hampton, Monmouth, and North Carolina A&T. How do you expect them all to perform in this inaugural season?
Well, you go program by program here. Monmouth has been a winning program in the MAC. They've had a winning season in 6 of the last 8 years. Now, they lost all 5 starters. So they're going to call on a sophomore, Miles Ruth, to run the team. They've also got a leader in Jarvis Vaughn. For Monmouth, King Rice has instilled a nice culture there. They know who they are. Yes. And that's important. And they've won. And I think for Monmouth, what they bring to CAA is a program that's only going to keep growing. I think that this is a great growth move for them. I think you'll see the results that they play in a terrific facility. And I like the upside there for Monmouth. And the way that they've won consistently makes me really believe in what they can do. North Carolina A&T. Look, this is a program that went through a coaching transition in the offseason. They come into this league, and frankly, they're looking for an identity going forward. And I think the CAA can provide them that. One of the guys that I look at with North Carolina A&T is a guy named Duncan Powell. Now, Powell missed all last year due to an injury, but he was the highest ranked recruit in North Carolina A&T program history. So look at Duncan Powell as a guy who will step up this year. And then I turn to Stony Brook, and I think Stony Brook's got great potential in this league. I really like what that program's done. And I think that they've brought in some talent, Carly, over the last couple of years that's made me say, wow, like they've been able to get power conference talent. They brought in a guy named Keenan Fitzsimmons, who is a bouncy 7-footer, quite the athlete. Yeah, Stony Brook's got a 7-footer, and I think he's going to make plays. So Keenan Fitzmaurice, rather, is a guy that's going to protect the rim and is going to play at a high level, a guy that comes over from Stanford. So look at him. And then finally with Hampton, look, for the Pirates, that's a program that has shown that they can win in the past. How will they handle this transition? It'll be interesting to see. But they've got their top returning scorer back, a kid that I think is going to make a name for himself in this league, Russell Deuce Dean. Deuce Dean can score it. He took on a big role last year, and he played the highest percentage of minutes in the Big South. Experience matters. And Russell Dean has it. And they added a St. Louis transfer in Jordan Nesbitt. So Hampton's got a couple of talented options. Now it's just a matter of being able to mesh that together. Look, when you enter a league, you got to learn a lot. And so for these 4 programs, they got some tough styles to learn. Like playing Towson one night, then playing Hofstra another, then College of Charleston another, then UNCW in Delaware. Like, Carly, this league is not easy to navigate, but as much as it's not easy for them to navigate, all these teams have to study up for their styles as well, and a couple of programs who have had a winning pedigree in recent years.
Yeah. Hope the off-season conditioning did its trick, right? Night in and night out in the CAA. John, so much wisdom. Thank you so much for coming on today. And for fans who are watching this, make sure you tune in to Flow Hoops and CBS Sports Network for CAA Hoops action all season long. But thanks for breaking it down, John. Can't wait to watch you this season. Best of luck.
No lack of drama in the CAA. Buckle up, everybody.